dear. Good morning and welcome to A1's late start to the live stream for April 2nd. Have you ever started an update on a computer and
Patrick thought it was a good idea to do the update right before we started.
It said it was going to take 3 minutes. And then the first thing went through and it was like 3 minutes in, and then it started something else again. And it said it was going to take 8 minutes, and then it started something else again, and then it said it was going to take longer. So it's that kind of scenario. So
But here we are.
We made it. What's new in the shop, Jeannie?
So, actually, there's a lot of new stuff in the shop.
Jeannie told me I have so much to talk about today.
So, this week, we are going to be doing, normally we do our digital dealer projects. We do them the first or second Friday of each month. This month, we're doing it on Thursday because I didn't look and I had scheduled the spa day. Oh my God, I didn't even notice this cute ribbon that
the day
Dana
at the spa.
used. Yes. Day at the spa. So we had that already on the books for Friday, and we had booked it like months and months and months ago. So we had to schedule that a different time. I think we might have one other one of those. You would think we'd have it down after having done it for years. But just so you know, this is the project that we're going to be doing. Can they see?
Yes. Have faith.
Can you shut that?
No, not yet.
This reminds me, his attitude right now reminds me of a near-death experience that we had this weekend. When my cousins were visiting.
It's only near death when something actually happens.
But all three
it's
people.
It's not near death.
All three people in the car thought they were going to die except for Patrick. And so we took them to the lake.
We got passed by a Jeep Wrangler.
Okay. We took them to the lake, and my cousin's husband's like, I think I've gone to heaven. Because he thought it was that beautiful, which Lake Tahoe is that beautiful. And we drove up and over Mount Rose, which was fine. We drove along the lake, which is fine. And then we came back up and over Spooner Summit into Carson City. So Spooner Summit, and the roads were not dry, but Patrick was driving so fast that
I was going 60.
On curvy roads. And she and I were getting thrown to one side of the back seat and then thrown to the other side. And I was like, Patrick, I say, can you slow down? And you know what his response was? Not, okay. Or, oh my goodness, I didn't realize how fast I was going. I said, could you slow down? And he goes, why? And then he's just driving the same way. So when we...
Then we got passed by a Jeep Wrangler.
Okay. When we finally stopped...
And even when we got passed by the Jeep Wrangler, JC, who is sitting next to me, was like, oh, that car's going faster than we are.
Yeah, and when we finally pulled over because we needed gas, because when you drive like a race car driver, you burn a lot of gas. When we pulled over and Patrick got out of the car, JC goes, I was so scared. My cousin's husband, who was sitting up front, he's like, I was so scared. I was like, I was too. We all were. We all were except for Patrick. It's like, can you slow down? Why? And then he just kept driving just the same way, death-defying.
I think that's called an e-ticket ride.
I was like literally driving in traffic. We were getting passed by Jeep Wranglers.
My cousin Misu and I were tumbling in the back seat. And then we were grabbing on for dear life. What? And I was like, okay, I kept trying to tell myself we're safe, but in my heart, I didn't believe it.
But in my heart.
I tried to tell my mind, tried to tell my body, which the adrenaline was like pumping because I felt unsafe. But Patrick.
This is how you tell somebody has no adrenaline in their life.
Patrick was so relaxed up front, like just like
we got passed by a Jeep Wrangler.
I don't care.
It was like it was not.
If all three people felt unsafe.
I wasn't even touching the gas. We were driving down the hill.
Spooner Summit is like that's one of those places where there's tons of runaway ramps for trucks. You have
no idea what you're talking about. There are no runaway ramps for trucks.
Yes, there is, right
on
at the
Spooner
bottom.
Summit?
Yes. Every time I see it, I go, we might need that.
How you'd have to cross a lane of traffic to get to it.
Yeah, because we were in the fast lane. We would have to cross a lane.
No. There's nothing on the right-hand side.
There is, Patrick. As you're coming down into Carson, there's a runaway truck thing.
Really?
And I see it every time because I go, I might need that.
See, I'm never paying attention to it because I'm driving.
Patrick might burn up the brakes, and we might need that runaway ramp.
I hadn't touched the brakes. The brakes were totally cool.
Do not the moral of the story is do not get in a car with Patrick Mulligan.
This is why every time, even if I walk out to the car and she's driving, she exits the vehicle and tells me she wants me to drive. Even here, I don't like his driving. She just likes to sit in the passenger seat so she can tell me what to do. She's like, you should be behind that car. You need to slow down.
We got in an argument today because he says this car next to us wants to get in the lane. And Patrick's like, I'm slowing down, but he's driving next to it. So I'm like, how's he going to get in the lane? You got to slow down enough.
In the EV, when you take your foot off the gas, it brakes.
We're not going to argue.
Braking.
We're not going to argue. We're not going to argue.
Nobody's ranking on a Jeep Wrangler, but a Jeep Wrangler is like the antithesis of a sports car. And so I'm just saying, we pulled over, like, we didn't even pull over. Like, there was traffic. We were driving in traffic. And then at the first opportunity, the Jeep Wrangler gunned it and went past us.
All I can tell you is everyone in the car was fearful for their lives, except for Patrick. Okay, you want to hear another story? We took my parents to Zion National Park from Vegas.
They've heard this story before.
You've heard this? And my mom, a little voice in the back seat.
You were sitting with her.
My mom goes, oh, Jeannie. They call me Jeannie. Jeannie, I've never driven 100 miles per hour.
The speed limit was 85. And I don't like driving next to big trucks.
My little mom. My cute little mom.
Just think, she would have gone her whole life without that excitement.
Except
for her wonderful son-in-law.
Oh my goodness. Ta-da! Look, every day it gets longer. Soon it's going to be longer than Patrick's. What are we looking at? My brand new Stellar needle threader has quit threading the needle. Okay.
So all of those needle threaders are they all work the same way. And there's like a little tiny piece of metal that goes through the eye of the needle that has a hook on the end, and it grabs the thread and it pulls it through. So normally what's happened is for some reason, and it can be there's a bent needle in the machine. And here's the thing. It's never the needle threader. So the needle threader comes down in one location. It is tied to the position of the needle bar. And so one of the reasons why a lot of the other brands have really struggled to create a functional needle threader, at least one as functional as the Brothers needle threader, is the patents they hold that protect a lot of this stuff. So that needle threader, as long as the needle is straight, as long as the needle is large enough,
As long as
the thread isn't too big, as long as you're not using monofilament, even sometimes like some rayon thread, because of the way that rayon thread is spun. As long as the needle's in the correct location, meaning it's the needle up, and really the only way to do that, and I know that Jeannie says she never uses that button, but the needle up, down, needle up button.
I use it if I'm moving the hand wheel manually.
Right.
But I rarely do that, so my needle's always ending in the right spot.
But in theory, the only way to totally be sure is to use that needle down, needle up button. Then that needle threader will come perfectly through the eye of the needle. So it is possible that a needle was slightly bent. Like, you'd be amazing how many times I pull a needle out of a machine. Some of you have seen me do this, like when you bring your machines in and you're like, my needle threader doesn't work. And I pull out the needle and you guys go, the needle's straight. And then I lay it on top of the machine. The needle has a very slight bend to it. So there are a lot of kind of small opportunities for that little tiny piece of metal to not go perfectly through the eye of the needle.
If you change your needle and you don't get it up all the way.
How often do we see that?
We see that all
the time. And listen, when we say this, we're not making fun of anybody. We just want folks to understand that every time I go, your needle, because I can see it.
He can see it from across the room. He's like, he'll be literally like 20 feet away, and he's like, the needle's bent. I'm like, what? He can see it. He's like...
Well, but I look at it all day, every day, right? And I see it several times a day, that a needle's bent or that the needle's not up all the way. But the response is always the same thing. Like, I'm like, your needle's bent. No, the needle's straight. And then, like I said, I'll pull it out and actually lay it on something flat, and you'll see the bend in the needle. Or the other thing is the needle's up all the way. And like, this is another thing that I can see in the Brother machines. Like, when you put the needle up all the way, it always looks the same. There's the exact same amount of shanks showing. So if you look at that all the day, or if you look at that all day long, then you can see it. And I'll be like, your needle's not up all the way. And the response is always, yes, it is. I pushed it up all the way. And then I'll loosen it, and they'll watch me push it up another 2 millimeters. So it's little things like that. Now, that said, what I would do is I would...
but once you bend it, if your needle's not up, because the needle comes down in one position and one position only, if your needle's not up all the way, that little wire that's trying to go through the eye of the needle is going to be forced left or right. And once it's bent, we need to fix it for you.
And that can bend it. So one of the things that I was going to say is a remarkable amount of times when somebody comes in, I'll take a brand new needle, I'll put the brand new needle in the machine, needle up, needle down, then I'll thread the machine threads just fine. So, like, when one of those things happens, you're not guaranteed to have a bent needle threader. But, like, if nothing, if nothing is helping, then, I mean, we charge $15 to do it. If the needle threader is damaged so badly that we can't safely fix it, that little part is $19. But we try to make it reasonable. And the reality is, and I don't know what it is, like, some people have problems all the time. Like, Jeannie maybe once in the last 5 years has asked me to repair her needle threader. So it's you know, it's just one of those things. It happens. It's not the end of the world. It's just, it is just necessary to go get it fixed sometimes. So, I'm sorry to hear it's not working, but that's what I would do first things first, is I would, you know, put a brand new needle in there and try to rethread from the very start. The next question people ask is how often to replace the needle. The thing I always say is more often than you are, or more often than you think. in theory, it's every 8 hours of sewing. We had an educator. I loved her comment. She's like at least once every project. How often do you replace your needle? Are you a doctors are the worst patients person?
Yeah, when it breaks, I'm the worst. No. I mean, Michelle.
But how often have you had a needle threading problem?
I have never.
And maybe once you've asked me to
The only time I had a problem was I lent my machine to somebody and it came back with the threader bent. That was it. I've never had, but I'm really OCD when I change my needle. I'm like dunk dunk dunk, and I check. There's a little sight.
There's a window there, and it can be
you
hard
can
to see
the top of it.
Yeah.
I have never had to. I've never bent my threader, but you know, like if I didn't know things like I don't use super small and
smaller than 7511 can be problematic.
I've probably just been lucky too, but I'm super anal about some stuff. Not that I don't make mistakes. We're going to talk about that today. But
I mean, it's almost 10, so we should probably start talking about that stuff.
Let's talk about fun stuff. Fun stuff.
Yeah, the last thing I'll say about that is most of you
every day
really nice machines.
Yeah.
And listen, like I know some of you watch and you've got a Brother 3500 or you've got a Baby Lock Aventura that's 10 years old or you've got an Elissimo that's 15 years old. These machines, they're all really nice machines. Like I was having a conversation with somebody yesterday where I was like, I feel like we're living in a time of peak gear. Now we were talking athletic gear and cameras and phone cameras and action cameras and stuff. But the reality is like everything's so good right now. It used to be where like one or two brands made nice stuff and then everybody else's stuff was kind of junky. In the athletic world now, they're all great. Like off-brand online bicycles, like generally if you're spending a decent amount on a bike, it's a fantastic piece of equipment. And that's true to a certain degree with sewing machines too. You're going to find some are easier than others, some are more problematic than others. But gear has gotten pretty good. You guys are buying Ferraris and you want to find a gas station that sells 85 to put in it sometimes. Use good needles, use good thread. Like you're going to find that just makes your life easier. And like to skimp on not changing needles enough. I think you own a store. You own a store. You're just not changing your needles. But there are people that make the conscious decision that I'm not going to change my needle because I'm going to save 90 cents. I get it. This is an expensive hobby, but at the same time, like you don't want to cheap out on this stuff because like you guys have spent money on performance machines. Let's give it the right fuel to get the performance.
Did you tell Paula if that wire is bent? That like here, if you're in our area and your threader, if it turns out that it is the wire that it just did get bent and it's going left or right, you can bring it into the shop and the boys will reshape that, and we charge $15 for that. So if it is the wire, Paula, you might have to take it to...
Yeah, the easiest thing to do is just take it to a dealer. I would call, just confirm with them that it's something that they can deal with real time. Like at our very busiest, I may ask you to leave the machine for an hour because at some point, like I like the guys to finish what's on their bench.
Yes.
Like if they're elbows deep in the machine, we need to fix it and get it done. But
they'll do it in between their jobs. So, okay. So, wanted to let you know this is going to be on Thursday. And I'm going to be doing this project with you. This one is that's what goes into the 5x7. The larger one is the one that Dana made, which is so cute. And that goes into the 8x12. So you have a little bit of an idea. And you could be doing either size and join us for the sew along. So it's actually, you do need an invitation to it. It's going to be on Zoom. So if you need an invitation, if you can just reach out. If you're a digital dealer, you should have gotten an invitation if you're part of our club. And if you bought the design or the kit from us, you should have gotten an invitation too. I'll check them tonight when I get home. Sometimes I miss stuff. So just send me a note and be like, I haven't gotten my invitation. Hey Michelle, will you just send out the invitation, like the update today? Yes. And that way you'll know. So Michelle's gonna send it out.
This was digital dealer for April, which is which day, Jeannie?
Thursday. It's the roll up pouch. And this is the kit. This is the 8x12 kit. We also have 5x7 kits. You can buy them. The 2 colors or the 3 colors I'm going to be using. I'm going to be using Tide Pool and Pistachio. And we have these in the store. So if you need those threads, I'm going to work on getting these colors. We don't sell Glide because we have another. We're just not. Yeah, we're not big enough. But I have like some of the colors for projects that we're working on. So I'll give these to Graydon to put up today. I know it's going to be a little bit late. You should have these in your stash anyways. They're like the best colors ever. Okay, one down. The next digital dealer project is going to be this, and Michelle's doing this. This is going to be next month. What?
Deborah Clifton had a customer come in, and her machine wasn't working, and when she went to change the needle, the customer yelled at her because she'd been using that needle for 30 years.
Oh, that would have been me. I didn't know there were different needles. I use the same needle for every single project.
Or that needles get dull.
I didn't know that.
You can hear it. I can hear it. Yeah. I'm like, that machine has a dull needle in it.
This is Digital Dealer May. And this is... it's 2 parts.
Is that your designer fanny pack? You gonna model it?
Yeah. It goes with your stuff, doesn't it?
It does go with my stuff.
Goes with Patrick's stuff perfectly. So we didn't kit this. The reason we didn't kit it is because you need 2 things. You need the canvas bag, and you need the belt kit. These are the 2 things that you need. Here we go. And they're both on the website, and I think they're both on the website at 20% off, so you can just buy that. However, I was talking to Michelle this morning because I know some of you are going to want to make it exactly like this. We're going to make a little add-on, and I know it's kind of getting late now, right, because it's May. And this is the fabric. It's a fat 16th, and then we're using 3 different thread colors, so we'll do a little add-on, and I'll do that today. If you needed the other stuff, you're going to have to add your own stabilizer, though. But this is what we're going to be doing in May. And
I think the answer for that, Lynn, is yes.
What's the question?
Well, she's asking, do you use sewing thread and sewing needles when you're sewing?
I piece with, when I'm piecing, I almost always use an 80-12. So I do change my needle, but like throwing it away, like sometimes that
they sit on the magnets on the top of the
machine.
Yeah,
and I'll just kind of change them out because I'm like, I don't know how long I use this. If I'm like starting to film, sometimes I'll change out my needle because I don't want to have an issue, or if we're doing a class, I'll change out to a brand new needle. So I do change my needles, but I am not good at doing the every 8 hours because, you know. But an 80-12 Microtex is my go-to needle for piecing. And I also use an 80-12 Microtex sometimes when I'm embroidering as well. Like if I were to pick my favorite all-time needle, it would be an 80-12 Microtex needle. But sometimes you need a bigger needle. You need to go 90-14 or 116. Sometimes, like Michelle has been talking about how she's loving piecing with 70 Microtex. She's been using a 65 Microtex too, just because smaller needle, smaller hole, and it's just so delicate. And a lot of the girls that we piece with Decobob, which is an 80 weight thread, but it has the strength of a 40 weight.
It's a cottonized polyester. So it's a polyester that's very, very thin, and it's strong. And it's like a little fuzzy is the wrong word, but like basically the way they spin it, it looks more like cotton.
Yeah, and it's half the diameter of your 40 weight. So your seams aren't as bulky. And when somebody explained it to me, I was like, "Oh, that makes sense. Let me try that." And that's what I piece with is Decobob. Anyhow, yes, you can hear it. It's like kind of thunky, but I'm too busy. I can't change my needle. And I just keep sewing with it.
Well, and Jeannie sews in batches, where Jeannie won't sew Monday through Saturday, and then she'll do a 6 or 8 hour project between Sunday and Monday. We should talk more.
We have more. Okay. I did film 2 videos because I was working on June's mini quilt, and Patrick and I are going to Salt Lake this weekend. And why are you looking like that?
What did you do that made you nervous when I look like
nothing. That? Nothing. You just look like because I say say stupid stuff and you look at me like that. So I'm like, did I say something stupid?
I didn't.
Okay. So we're going to Salt Lake because we're going to go see the kids, and
we have work to do in Salt Lake.
We have work to do in Salt Lake. So I'm not going to be back until like Monday night. Next week, the next Monday, I'm going to start, whether it's prepping for quilting through the seasons or whatever it is. On that Monday, I'll remind you like next week, but we're going to start quilting through the seasons. And then I think at the end of the month, I'm going to start Hello Sunshine. So it's coming. I want you to know it's coming. I'm trying to get this done. So I did stitch out, and I want to show you, this is my 5x7 magnetic hoop, which they're coming today. And then if you did your other order, I looked at our stuff. Playbooks are coming. Extension tables are coming. Everything should be here next.
It's going to be a busy couple of weeks, shipping Thursday. Wise.
So if you've been waiting for this hoop, and I use it all the time, I just love it. And it has like the little magnets on it. And this is different from the heavy sashing frame. You know, you just pull these off. So this is what happened. I went to start stitching, and I was like, okay, because normally what I do is I have one embroidery on there, and that's how you get it so close, right? So you're not wasting stabilizer or you're not wasting muslin. When I went to take it off, I was like, oh, wait a minute. And I turned it over. 2 embroideries, and they were stitched down. I was so it's in the video. I was like, I'm so embarrassed.
I like that you showed that, because you know what you don't see is abject panic.
I was like, oh, I'll be right, because then I'm like, I'll be right back. And I'm like, oh my God. And I looked, I was like, can I save it? And luckily it was the ones for May, and it just said something on it. It was like the quickest ones, the easiest ones of all the ones that I could have done that to. And I always tell people when we're doing stuff, fluff your fabric. Just make sure it's like not folded under. And I didn't do that. I remember doing those late at night, and I was like, I'm just going to get them done. And it was an example of haste makes waste. And so haste made 2 embroideries, fold under, and they got stitched. I had to like cut the top so I could even get them out, get my hoop out. But this is from May. Is that the cutest thing ever? With the little jar and like the little bow. No. This is June. Sorry, this is June. And then these are the peaches. And those were super sweet. What I really loved is that we used felt. We used velveteen. It's just nice. And we used flexi foam. It was just nice.
You ruffled on your serger?
I did. So when it got to this point, and I did it in the video too, and it wanted you to make the little ruffle, I did that on my serger. I was like, you know what? I'm going to show you how to do this on the serger. That video had to be done twice because I grabbed the big piece first. So yeah, I didn't get as much done as I thought I would get done, because haste makes waste. These hoops are coming. Christy asked, are we going to invoice you? We're going to figure out your shipping, and then we will call you. So don't worry. We have you, and we will call you about like the hoop. We'll call you about all your stuff. If you have more than one item, we'll go ahead and we'll put it together. I'm looking at all your other orders. So if we have stuff that I can ship it with right now, we'll combine everything.
So I'm going to actually... I'm just going to make a comment on the Oregon Same B 7511 embroidery needles. So,
those are my favorite embroidery needles.
But you like the Oregon anti-glue.
Oh, yeah.
Same B's just kind of like a standard 7511 embroidery needle. I have a difficult time imagining that your machine didn't like those needles. And I'm not telling you that it didn't happen. At the same time, we recommend the Oregon anti-glue 7511 embroidery needles all the time. That's 90% of what we sell for embroidery. And is that exclusively what you use for embroidery?
No, sometimes I want a heavier needle.
Well, I mean, but like if you were going to use a 7511, is it always the anti-glue?
For embroidery?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's not that I necessarily need it to be anti-glue, but why not, right?
So,
I do use adhesive. I do use and it just has a coating.
Well,
that makes
and I think it just goes
stick
through the fabric that much easier, and I feel like we do not see problems with those at all. So, like, I can't think of a reason that a machine would constantly break needles unless there's a problem with the needle. And so, it is possible that there was a bad batch of needles, meaning the manufacturer had an issue and, that was a problem. The biggest thing that I would say is watch out for like big box and e-tail sites with stuff like that, because there is most definitely a problem with counterfeit. And it's funny because I think I've said this before on the live stream, but at one point I bought a magazine of Groats-Beckert needles, which are also very high quality needles. And, most of these needles are now actually manufactured in Asia, which quite frankly, I didn't know that. But most of them are not manufactured in China. They're manufactured in India or Pakistan or like more Southeast Asia. And when I got this magazine of needles from Groats-Beckert, the origin sticker on the magazine, and I can't remember what it read, so don't quote me on this, but it was like made in India, but it arrived in a plastic box that the only purpose of the plastic box was to put a made in China sticker on it. And essentially what I was doing was just confirming my bias in that, like, when I was quoting somebody on the price for this magazine of needles, the price that they were capable of paying on Amazon was like, it was less than I was spending on wholesale on the needles. So when I bought them and they arrived like that, I'm like, nah, these are Chinese knockoff needles. So I mentioned that as a concern. I'm not accusing you of purchasing counterfeit needles, but it's something to consider, especially because the needles that come with the machine, the embroidery needles that come with the Brother machines, are 75 Oregon needles. We never see problems with them. We use, and I mean, when I say we sell hundreds of them, how many packages of the anti-glue needles?
Oh.
We sell hundreds of those on a monthly basis. We never see issues with them. So in theory, the 7511 Oregon needles should work just fine. And so I'd almost be a little concerned about the source of those needles. And then, like I said, there was a batch of needles that we had purchased.
Oh.
No, we had purchased a batch of needles. This is years ago, and we were having issues with them. And when we called our supplier, they took them all back because they were like, "There's a problem with those needles." So that's possible too.
The other thing is sometimes somebody will be like, my needles just keep breaking. And when they come in and I see their project, it has to do with what they're stitching. So we would, if we were really asking you and talking to you about it, we'd be like, what are you stitching? And they'll come in with like a heavy, like, freestanding lace or something like that that's super, super dense. So consider the projects that you're working on, the size of your needle.
Well, but I would say, like, if you just went from the Oregon 7511 to a Schmetz 7511, the Schmetz wasn't breaking, the Oregon was. Like I said, for me, I have a hard time, and nothing is this accusation or anything like that. But like what I would actually tell you is, I would question the source of the needles before I question the needles themselves. Because like I said, that the 7511 Oregon embroidery needles are exactly what are included in the box from Brother. We never see problems with those.
So Cheryl asked, are these the dealer exclusives? This project here, this is the dealer exclusive, the roll-up pouch. this project here, this is Kimberbell's June mini quilt. So this is June mini quilt. Both of these are from that block. There's like 4 different blocks. So I'm not sure which one you're asking for. And yes, Susan, I did take one for the team. It was done on purpose. I purposely didn't fluff it because I wanted to show you what could happen.
And how not to panic.
And what not to do. Sometimes part of what I do is what not to do. And you know what?
That's where you get your most valuable learning experiences.
Because it's painful. You're like, oh my God, I have to redo that again. I will listen to my own words, and I will make sure I fluff my fabric every time.
Yeah, I really, like, a couple people have commented on the Amazon thing. Like, listen, I'm an Amazon guy. I'll buy stuff on Amazon. Amazon's incredibly convenient, but like I always say to Jeannie, if it's too good to be true, it normally is. And so the part of the reason I say this is, like, when you see a product on Amazon and that product is like half the price of what you're paying at your local store, you're not buying the real product.
There's a lot of
There's like a ton of like, and it's funny, like we were listening to something this morning about the antitrust suit that the federal government's taking against Amazon. And that's part of what they're talking about, is like, there's no real safeguards in place for stuff like that. Their focus is on sales and sellers. And so you just have to beware of stuff like that. Like, if it's too good to be true, it probably is. So let me talk really quickly about the service side of the business. Like, I've been telling folks for quite some time, 4 weeks. I think last week I said maybe we were creeping up to 3 weeks. We're back at 2 weeks.
Ooh,
I commented to Dax that I was going to tell you guys this, and Dax is like, why would you do that? We're going to go back to 4 weeks. But what I would tell you is the guys were incredibly focused last week, and we dug through a lot of machines. And so we're back at 2 weeks. We'll see how long that lasts. I think, between 2 and 3 weeks is just normal. I've had several people make comments that they're just going to wait until we're back at a week. It's been a long time since we've been to a week. So just something to consider.
Wait, we only have 2 more. Okay. Some people have already found it. I know we haven't even started quilting through the seasons. Pumpkin and Potions, that's coming out too. Kimberbell has their holiday quilt for Christmas. It's called a Quilty, and I know some of you have seen some stuff that's out there. It's called a Quilty Little Christmas, and it's up. So there is a embellishment kit, and it's cute. And what I like about this project is it's made up of a bunch of smaller projects. Not that you can't combine it and create like your own quilt, but I think it is it like 5 or 6 different projects, like different wall hangings, different, I guess I could tell you.
So Carol said, I sure wish the needles were color coded. What might blow your mind is they are. So
there's little bars on the top.
There's little bars on the top that'll tell you what needle you're using. And like for Schmetz needles, as an example, the packaging of the needle, the colors on that package are the same as the colors on the needle. And that lower color, somebody commented on the fact that the coating on the anti-glue needles will wear off. It's a great wear indicator. So if you're starting to see silver on those needles, it's pretty much time to change them. But the same is true with the lower bar. The lower bar will start to wear off on the Schmetz needle. And when you start to see that coating go, it's probably time to change the needle. So most of the needles have an identification mark. They may be hard for some eyes to see.
So I think Quilty Christmas is, I think it's 6 different projects, but it says 24 unique designs and a variety of techniques and embellishments. And it's super cute. It's up. You can see it. I have and this is normally how we do it when we do a pre-order. The design and the embellishment kit are normally 20% off, And the fabric kit is normally 15% off because they charge us freight on that, which can get really expensive.
So, Carol, like if you order from us in your next order, leave a note and ask us to send you the Schmetz needle book. Schmetz is like 80 to 90% of what we sell outside of those Oregon anti-glue needles. And they have a book that shows you all the colors, tells you exactly what they are. So just let us know in your next order, and I'll throw one of those in.
I don't have. What do I have?
Do you have the Christmas quilt?
Here, this is what it's gonna look like. These are. Will it make it bigger? No. Do I have the Christmas quilt? Are we talking? Here, I'll show it to you. It's cute, and I'm sure they'll talk about it in. What do you think? Do you think they'll talk about it? How do I make that big? You can't even see it that well, but these are some of the projects. And I know that's not, I guess I should do it on the computer, right? So that's what's going to be in a quilty Christmas. And you can do it any way you want. So there's like smaller quilts. This would be great if you want to make some presents. And you could just make this little batch and then kind of give it away so people can decorate for the season. Would be really fun too. There will be a thread set that wasn't out yet, so I couldn't see that. I did put out the Fat Quarter bundle that as a pre-order as well. There's I'm sure there'll be like jelly rolls and stuff like that, but I kind of kept it to that stuff. So I wanted to let you know that was out. And was there anything else? Oh, should we do the giveaway?
Yeah.
Okay, giveaway. The giveaway was you can like save it and you could get, oh, and Michelle has something to show you too. We're going to give away, the first prize is like a Kimberbell event, and it's for a 1 day or a Spark event. Not a 2-day event, but a 1 day or a Spark event. If you wanted to do Day at the Spot,
we're just gonna
I don't think I could get your kit there in time. You do have to pay for shipping. And then the runner-up prize is Susan. Congratulations. And we did ask, how do you like to achieve your perfect 1/4 inch? And Susan says she likes to use the plain 1/4 inch foot that came with each of my machines. She's a no flange girl. On her burnette, she'll move the needle position to fine tune. And I had everything on there from flange, dual feet, J-foot, tape, magnet. Like I read through a lot of those, and some people were like, I never get a 1/4 inch. My 1/4 inch is never perfect.
Next winner.
This is for a store class. And I'm not sure who user. We're going to have to figure this one out. But
is that Jill?
No, I don't think so. If I'm feeling adventurous, I will use the quilting stitch, which is a 1/4 inch from the left of the foot for my aria. Otherwise, I use. Can we see the whole thing or no?
It'll send us to the YouTube channel. I don't want to do that.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. What? How do I put that one down?
And I'll comment once we're done.
at-
I'll pull her up.
Wait.
I've got it here. I haven't deleted it.
Okay, you do it because I don't know how to find it.
Okay.
All right. I think that's it. I think we're out of here.
Well, so I'm gonna leave you, and Michelle's gonna come talk about something.
Michelle has. Okay, remember we told you Michelle does curated classes. Where she does that on her own time. She has, and a lot of times there'll be Disney projects. Michelle's a big Disney fan, and I know there's a lot of Disney fans out there. And she will oftentimes kit these with amazing products that she has.
Can Susan Alba do Day at the Spa as her event?
Yeah, I'm going to give this to Patrick right now.
But she's got to pay shipping, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we'll contact you. I'm going to add you in here right now. Michelle?
Hello. So, I have been working on 3 different classes. They're all printed vinyl. So if you don't know what printed vinyl is, it's clear vinyl. Let me get my hand in there. It's clear vinyl with the printed on the outside.
Isn't that cute?
Yeah, they're so much fun. So this one is little Minnie Mouse here. So I have, this is going to be the first class. This one is a really basic class. It's going to be pretty straightforward, pretty simple sew to get you used to sewing on what we call either PVC vinyl or TPU vinyl. TPU vinyl is like jelly vinyl.
Are they going to get fun stuff like
They
zippers
are going
like
to get
this?
fun stuff like zippers like that. Each kit will be different. That one has a little bow that I made on the embroidery machine.
Do they get a bow?
Depends. Some of them get charms.
So they'll get all of this stuff, this little pizzazzy stuff too.
Yes.
So it's worth it just so you don't have to go and source everything.
Exactly. So with this class, now I'm going to be really specific. Pay attention here. In your supply list is a link to a spreadsheet. This is the only way you can order a kit for this class. It gives you, I think there's 16 different vinyl prints on there with different prints on them. Some are Disney, some are just like sprinkles or something else. So there's one Harry Potter. There's even a Christmas one for you, those of you that want to plan ahead. All you're going to do is pick your vinyl, and I'm going to curate the rest. But you will have the hardware, which is at the very least a D-ring. And then if you order one of the Disney prints, you'll get a Disney-shaped ring. If you don't order a Disney print, I also have flowers, stars, and hearts. And there's one print that's a dog print. With that, you get a carabiner. Is that how you say that word? Carabiner, shaped like a dog bone. And then each print will have a custom printed zipper. So this will be either cups, depends on what print you pick. And then you'll get a little doodly thing from me. So you'll either get a charm and some kind of thing that makes it look over the top.
Yeah, because my stuff is cute, but not as cute as Michelle's. Because Michelle always, she has all this fun stuff. I don't have all this fun stuff.
I have fun stuff.
So mine would just look like this, which is like nice, but come on, this is so much cuter. And, things that are great is
zipper pull on this
if you've
one.
never sewn on vinyl before,
This is going to get you used to it.
Yeah, she's going to show you the tricks, the tips, what special feet you might want to use, the products that you want to use to go ahead and sew a product like this, which I don't do a lot of vinyl, so I would want to take a class like that.
I love sewing on vinyl. So, the spreadsheet, you're going to go look at the spreadsheet. All 16 prints are on the spreadsheet. Open it up, let all the pictures load. It will tell you how many kits are available in each print. I cannot reorder any of these prints. They're all out of production. So you're going to put your name next to the print that you want, assuming all the kits aren't taken. Then, this is the important part, you're going to put your email address in the second column. The email address is so that I can send you an invoice through Square. The kits are $20, come with the vinyl you need and all the little doodahs, hardware, zipper, and zipper pull. And includes shipping if you're out of state. And then you're going to actually let me know if you want store pickup or if you want me to ship it. And if you want me to ship it, you got to give me your address. That's the really important part. So anyway, I have one session on the schedule right now for the 29th of April. If I need to open a second session, I'm happy to do that. But do keep in mind that the kits are going to be limited. I cannot reorder any of this vinyl. So each participant will be limited to purchasing one kit to begin with. And if there's any leftover kits, I'm happy with selling them after the classes are over. This one's a fun one because you really can make this any size you want. You can make, not with the kit you're going to get from me, you're going to make it this size, but you can make a giant one if you wanted to. It's just a really fun, nice sew. You will need, and Jeannie and I have talked, and so Jeannie has your stuff that you need ready and ready to go. You will need a non-stick foot. So like a Teflon foot, a non-stick foot, or if you have an upgrade 3 for a Luminaire and Solaris, you got an N plus foot. The N plus foot has that non-stick surface on it. Your regular N foot does not. You will not need your walking foot because it will put dents in your vinyl. And then you'll also need a non-stick zipper foot. So my favorite is the Brother non-stick zipper foot. It's a regular zipper foot too, but this one is an advantage is that you can use it on vinyl.
And this is all in the supply
It's
list,
all
right?
in the supply list, yeah.
I ordered some more of those N plus feet, and it is a foot that will work with all the machines.
It will, yeah. It works with all the machines. It's nice to have that foot. The N plus foot lets you add some decorative stitching. You know, it's mainly your decorative foot, but having any non-stick foot, if you want to play with vinyls, is, you know, it's just kind of a necessity. So we're going to start with this. And then the next one after this is going to be a pouch that has pockets and sparkly things inside the pockets.
And it's really cute.
That one's really cute. And then the last one is going to be a, I don't know, some of you that are bag makers know of the MAV pack, spelled M-A-V. It's going to be a clear MAV pack. So as long as you don't have stadium rules that you can't have print on your clear, it will make a great stadium bag for the summer, and that one's going to incorporate some jelly vinyl into it. So we are going to be vinyl. We're going to be in vinyl heaven. You're going to be
vinyl and bags and
vinyl
like
and
fun
bags,
stuff.
vinyl bags, anything that glitters, anything that sparkles, anything that just makes it go.
Do you ship to Canada?
I can't do it for free, but yes, I can.
Okay. Yeah, so yeah, absolutely.
And then if you are interested in that, please make sure that you give me enough time to get it there. So
will it be Zoom?
Yes, absolutely.
And it will be recorded.
And it will be recorded. And there will be a Facebook group, a private Facebook group for it. And I will sew one start to finish, and I will put that video in the Facebook group as well. So you'll have that, and you'll also have access to your class recording.
Yeah. So,
no, you cannot, Cheryl. Only one to begin with.
And then if there's extra, she'll let you know.
I just don't want to tell anybody that they cannot take the class because there are no kits left because somebody bought 12 of them. So to begin with, while the class is active and people still want to sign up for the class, you can only order one. At the end, whatever's left, I will make more.
Yeah, and we have low battery. So, and I don't know where it plugs in. So we're going to get going. Have a great day. Be creative and make something awesome.
Oh my gosh,
and
these are so much fun.
We will see you. You want to take a class with Michelle and you want to
We
get
have
these
so
kits.
much fun. Oh, and this one I'm going to be sewing on a PQ 1500. So if you need a nonstick foot for a PQ 1500, please, or 1600, or any other brand that looks like that one, please contact us at the store because Patrick has the source.
Okay, we'll see you later. Bye.